Today we did a live session on very important topic, Laken Riley Act, which was a hot topic in United States for the last couple of weeks. To brief more on this topic, we invited Attorney Zibran Mohammed from Somiredi Law Group. He practices criminal, family, and personal injury. Let's welcome Mr. Zibran Mohammed.
Well, thank you so much. I'm happy to be joining you. As you know, Swami Reddy Law Group is a very diverse. We practice diverse field. I do family, criminal, personal injury, all those type of laws. So today I want to focus mostly on the Laken Riley Act, which was passed into law by President Trump on January 29th, 2025. There's been a lot of confusion, chaos in last 2 weeks, last 2 to 3 weeks, and there's much more to come, unfortunately, in the next 4 years.
Right.
So the goal of today is not to scare anybody. The goal is to educate and provide knowledge. And if there's any specific questions you all have, we're happy to help. Our firm is here to assist anyone who needs help. You can reach out to us specifically if you have any detailed questions regarding your specific situation, or you can ask some questions, general questions. We don't want to give out too much information about your personal, details. You can ask general questions here, so we're happy to answer them. So let's go into Laken Riley Act, what it is, why it came to a law. Just give you a brief summary, and then I'm happy to take any questions, Ravi, that you have, or any audience that you have. So Laken Riley Act was passed on January 29, 2025 by President Trump, signed into law. Laken Riley, she was a student, a nursing student. She was jogging in the morning, early morning, when she was apprehended, kidnapped, and beaten to death by an undocumented immigrant from Venezuela. The perpetrator was 26-year-old, and because of this serious offense, Congress passed a bill, and then President signed into law. The reason they passed this act is because prior to this particular incident, this perpetrator had committed a lot of small offenses, such as shoplifting and other stuff, where he was not held accountable or nothing serious happened to him. And then this murder took place of this innocent 22-year-old student. And this caused a really big, big action by the community, that this individual who's of criminal mind should have taken into there should have been action taken to prevent him from doing a major crime, which he did. He was sentenced to life in prison, and then this law was passed. What this law basically says is that before this law, any crime such as theft, shoplifting, small criminal actions were not reported to be deported. You can't, like, those are small crimes. Those are state related. Federal government would not get involved. But now what they said was, after this law, that any action committed by undocumented immigrant, or even like it goes into like kind of like even people who are here on student visa, things of that nature, that they're going to take strict immigration enforcement if anyone commits any crime such as shoplifting. They don't specifically say DUI, but I think it will cover broad misdemeanor. So reckless driving is considered a misdemeanor in a lot of states. DUI is considered a misdemeanor in a lot of states. Any major crimes, if you commit, there's not going to be only state law that's going to come into effect, but also federal law. And then second prong of this bill basically says that if federal government fails to take action, then the state government can sue the federal government for failing to take action if it harms any of their citizens. So now it's, before, federal government would not get involved when it comes to small actions, but now with this law, I think there's going to be a lot of strict enforcement. I'll give you some scenarios to kind of give your audience some ideas of what can happen and what has happened. But I'll open it up to questions and then I'll go into it.
Sure, perfect. Thanks for sharing this, Gibran. So I have read that this applies for, of course, a mistake is a mistake, crime is a crime. I'm not supporting legal and illegal here. So as per the act, it was mentioned that for illegal immigrants who commits, they're gonna get deported or there will be an action.
Mm-hmm.
So because the news is spreading across, from where the legal immigrants came into this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my question here.
Right.
Because even when you said it applies to F1, H1, and other visas who are in US on work permit or any temporary visa. So
Right.
they did not mention anything in the law or anything in the act, but how it is going to apply here.
So this is specifically focused on undocumented immigrant, but there's three prongs to it, right? One prong is that they're specifically highlighting, okay, any of the small offenses such as shoplifting and all of that, if those actions are committed by undocumented immigrant, then there will be federal government involved. Then there is a second which says if the federal government fails to take any action on immigration enforcement, which causes the state citizen harm, then the state government can sue the federal government. So that gives a little bit of broad. It doesn't specifically say undocumented immigrant. It says if federal government fails to take action on immigration. So that goes to a lot of people, not just undocumented. Then there's a third prong, which basically says that federal government is to take strict action against immigration enforcement. So a lot of people, what we need to understand is even folks who are here on F1 visa, student visa, or H1B, or any of that. Let's say, for example, in scenarios where they are changing their status or they are, kind of going from one status to another status. There are times where, they might not be on status for 1 day, 1 week, 2 weeks, things like that. And something like this happens, that it impacts them as well. So it gives broad leverage. That's what I'm trying to say with this action. Yes, it specifically says undocumented immigrant, but what's going to happen is it's going to be on all immigrants. So that's where this is going.
The scrutiny will be more.
Scrutiny will be a lot more. And not only that, now what we're seeing is more and more, if someone is charged, as soon as someone is charged, their visa is getting revoked. Before that didn't used to happen. Because charging someone, if I have committed an offense, I'm not automatically considered guilty. Okay. Let's say, for example, I go to Macy's, I forget to pay for something and I walk out. And just as soon as I'm walking out, I realize, I didn't pay for it. Before I enter back to the store, let's say they come and they arrest me and they say, you didn't pay for this and you walked out. The fact that I took a step out of the store, okay, that is considered stealing.
Right.
Okay. What's going on in my mind is irrelevant.
Right.
So even in this case, as soon as I'm charged with this shoplifting, even though I'm not proven beyond a reasonable doubt that am I guilty or not, they have charged me. Of course, I will have an opportunity in the court to explain what happened. I wasn't thinking, I didn't realize, I didn't pay for it. But before I even get there, the embassy would have automatically revoked my visa. So these are very strict actions that they're taking, unfortunately. It's very, very unfortunate because the Constitution says, they have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right.
But unfortunately, when it comes to immigration, they're taking strict actions, and it's impacting a lot of people.
Right, right, right. And another thing, Zibran, many people were previously involved in these kind of things, and those cases got closed or cleared, or probably they might paid the fines. How it is going to impact them?
So that's a very good question. Okay, so of course the law just took an effect on January 29th. So anything
Mm-hmm.
from here on will be considered a violation. Anything previously should not be. But again, I would caution anyone
Mm-hmm.
who has had any sort of contact with police officers or any court, or if they have been charged with anything, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
reckless driving, DUI, shoplifting, either domestic violence, anything, before you travel,
Mm-hmm.
it's better to make sure, hey, was my visa revoked? Was there any action taken for my immigration or anything like that by either the Custom Border Patrol, by the embassy? Because what you don't want is you go back to your country, and then when you're coming back, that's when you find out, oh, you cannot come back. And then you're stuck. Now you're playing from behind. So the goal should be to check uh, before, and our office can help with that, and helping you find out whether your visa has been revoked, whether there has been, or you can, these are things you can do on your own as well. You can check your service to see if there has been anything, any action. You can go online, check your visa status, if the visa has been revoked or anything like that. But only thing we would caution you is to do it before you travel,
Before
not
really.
while you're, in India or any other country. So
Right.
I'll just give you some example, like if you don't mind. I think it will be helpful for your audience. So we've had a couple of situations where, for example, we have student who's here on F1, was currently had one more semester left, and unfortunately, he was in a situation where the reason I'm telling you is that there's a lot of entrapments going on,
Right.
when it comes to students and when it comes to community in large. So his friend had solicited someone for sex. Okay. Then his friend told him, hey, this is the number, message them, and that will be it. So he messaged this person, not knowing who it was or anything like that, asking, what's the rate for 1 hour for sex? Those were
Right.
his language. Come to find out, the person he messaged was an undercover police officer. Okay. Now he's charged with solicitation for prostitution. Okay. So these are things that, like, sometimes very innocently people do it. They don't realize what they're doing. And then they're now, they're in big trouble.
Right.
Another example we had one case where we were working with, we had one student who went to Craigslist, and there was a job, not a job, but kind of like a independent contractor, saying that, I will send shipment from UK, and you will receive boxes in the mail, and then all you have to do is take those boxes, and then someone will come to your house and to pick it up, and for each box you will receive $100. And for large boxes you will receive more, for small boxes you'll receive certain amount.
Right.
Anyways, this lady, the student, innocently went on and said yes, she will do it. She provided the address, she provided everything. Then she started receiving these shipments, boxes. And what she was told is these are flower seeds that are very popular in the United States, and they're not available in the United States. So we're going to send it from UK, and we have customers who will come and pick it up from you. So she had been doing this for a couple of years, okay, and nothing was happening. These boxes were clearing from the airport, no problems, nothing. Then all of a sudden, one day, FBI, knocks on her door, and there was a box placed in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
They were apparently doing a surveillance,
Mm-hmm.
seeing who's picking up the
Mm-hmm.
box. So they did a surveillance. They saw she was the one picking the box. Then they knocked on her door right after she picked up the box and arrested her.
Mm-hmm.
They opened the box and everything, and apparently it was poppy seeds, which are illegal substances. So she had been receiving poppy seeds for 2 years without realizing what she was receiving. She thought that she's just, making money easily. People are coming to pick it up. Nothing. So then she was charged with felony for possession of illegal substance, and then distribution for illegal substances, drugs. So, you know, the reason I think it's important for your audience is sometimes you may not realize, you may think that, okay, I'm not doing anything wrong, but a small action can become a big deal, and it is becoming a big deal for a lot of people,
Right.
because we receive calls on daily basis.
Right.
Okay.
But poppy seeds, we get them here in states, right?
Yeah,
But
these
it's
were
illegal
not
to get them
opium
from other
poppy
places.
seeds.
Oh, opium poppy seeds.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
not the
No,
actual
no,
poppy
no,
seeds.
not those
Okay.
poppy seeds.
Okay.
Opium poppy seeds. So illegal. It's Schedule 3 drugs and Schedule 1 and 2
Okay.
drugs.
Understood.
So yeah, and it was the interesting part was that it was going on for 2 years, and the customs had not catched onto it, and like we told the judge, how is she, like, if she's not even familiar with this drug at all, okay, there's no documentation. We showed all the email, all the correspondence, all the exchange of messages between her and the individual who was sending it from UK, and saying this thing cleared from customs. If she had any idea that this was illegal, it wouldn't clear from the customs, correct?
Right.
But this thing for 2 years was clearing, and they still did not believe that she didn't know. So we had a really difficult time proving that she did not have the knowledge. And so there are many cases like that. We just recently, one more, just so your audience can get an idea. Very innocent act. Because the thing is, we don't know what's going on inside the person's brain.
Right.
And it's hard to prove what their intentions are. Recently, we had a gentleman who went to a wedding in India, had spoken to some friends, and his friends said, we're doing a trucking business, and all you have to do is go and collect money from customers. So he had no idea what was going on in the background. He was given instruction to go collect money, and that's what he would do. But apparently what was going on is people were getting threatening calls, in United States citizens were getting threatening calls to do XYZ, give certain amount of money, or things will happen to them. Okay. So then what would happen is this person who's here on a student visa would get a call saying, hey, this person will meet you at McDonald's. You have to give them this password, and they'll give you $25,000, and then we'll give you instruction on how to send it to us, and you will get 30% of that. So he would go, and he did that 3-4 times. He would go and tell this person, and he was sent a photograph. This is how the person looks like. So you just go up to them, give them this password, and they'll give you the money. So he would give them the password, and they would just give him a sealed package, and he would take it. So he did that 3-4 times. And then last time when he did that, they arrested him. Now he's trying to explain to them, hey, I didn't know what I was doing was illegal or anything like that. I was told to go pick up this package, and that's what I did. But unfortunately, now he's charged with conspiracy, and also charged with threatening a citizen, and taking money by threats. So these are serious felony offenses, and the bail amount by itself could be anywhere from 25,000 to 250,000. So, again, you have to take very cautious steps. Don't get involved in anything like this, because it will be your career, your future, everything is on the line. Because a lot of people who have come here have spent a lot of money, a lot of their hard work and studying and coming here, and their parents are depending on them. So it's important that you are very cautious,
Right.
not in just like being cautious in driving or anything like that, but being cautious, getting involved and thinking that, okay, it's easy to make this money. Let me just go ahead and do it. Yes, you have to survive. Okay. But take caution, understand, make sure you know what you're getting involved in. So,
Right. So while you are here, let me ask this question also, as you practice in personal injury. So many people from our community, when they get involved in accident, if it's not our fault, people take it light. They try to get whatever their insurance pay and settles it down. But it's our fault, and the other person gonna sue him and pin him down and take the money. So in general, what is your suggestion to the people how to deal these kind of cases? Because many times people avoid hiring an attorney and simply go with, simply call the insurance. Hey, I'm involved in an accident. How do I deal? And then they get a certain money, whatever, for the car, and that's it. They're gonna leave it. But what is the ideal procedure to deal these kind of things? Because I know some of the people who met with an accident now, after an year, they get some health complications.
Yeah.
But they do not realize that this was happened because of the accident which happened an year back, right? So these kind of scenarios are more, and people do not have right direction. And I know you guys have practice in only specific states, but in general, anyone, if they involved in an accident, and if they are not in mistake, and if they are at fault, how do they handle?
Okay, those are very good questions, multiple questions, but I'll try to summarize it. So number one, whenever you get in an accident, it's important to get all the information of the other drivers, take pictures. If it's their fault and you're not calling the police because you're in a rush, or they don't want you to call the police, or you're blocking the traffic and it's a minor accident, then it's very important, if they're admitting that it's their fault, and they're providing you all the information, to just write a small statement saying, I admit so and so, whatever the person's name is, I admit it's my fault. We've exchanged information. I've given pictures of this accident, and I'm signing that yes, I admit it's my fault. Because what happens is, a lot of times, you get in an accident, the person says, yes, it's my fault, don't call the police, I'm in a rush, you're in a rush, and then 3-4 months down the road, they sue you. You get a notice saying, I've suffered injury, $50,000, blah, blah, and you get a notice to be in the court, and we're suing you. They also contact your insurance information, but let's say your limitation for insurance is $50,000, but their injury is $100,000. So the insurance company is willing to cover $50,000, but you're still responsible for that additional $50,000. Okay. So number one, if they're saying yes, it's their fault, if they're saying no, don't call the police, if they're saying, oh, we're blocking the traffic, anything like that, get a written statement signed by them, their ID, all of that, you're done. Because later, if they change their mind, you have evidence. Number one. Number two, a lot of people, unfortunately, in our community, when they rent a car, they don't get collision and comprehensive coverage,
Right.
because they want to save a couple of $100.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand you want to save money, and I'm all for that. But guys, that is not the place to save money. Okay, because they say, oh, I have American Express credit card, that's gonna cover my accident. No, it will not cover. It will only cover the car that you're driving. Okay,
Not the other one.
even for that, it's going to be a limited amount, not all of it. Okay, please don't get fooled. Okay, you get in an accident, they won't cover the other vehicle, they won't cover your injury, they won't cover the other person's injury. So you could be liable for hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on the type of accidents you have. You know, I mean, we've had situation where the person is gets involved in an accident and the passenger that is with them dies. You know, and now they don't have insurance. So I know you want to save a couple $100, but when it comes to this is not the place to save. Pay a couple $100 extra. Save yourself a headache. The number two. Number three, if you get in an accident and it's your fault, make sure you contact your insurance immediately. Don't wait, because in your policy, a lot of times we don't read our policy because it's boring. It's a lot of pages and a lot of fine print. Nobody has time to read it. They have specifically said that you have to report your accident within certain amount of hours. Sometimes it's 48 hours, sometimes it's 24 hours. Sometimes we forget. We say, oh, you know what, forget, I'll report it later. Month goes by, we don't report it. And then all of a sudden, we get a letter from the court or summons from the court. Our insurance company contacts us. Hey, such and such person has reached out and filed a claim, but you never report it. So sometimes nowadays, before insurance companies had a lot of money. Now the insurance, as you see, is getting very expensive. Sometimes they don't even want to cover your vehicle or your home because they just don't have enough. You saw in California, before the fire, they canceled a lot of the policies. A lot of those homes did not have policies. None of these insurance companies wanted to cover those homes because the risks were very high. So when it comes to young drivers, when it comes to a lot of student drivers, the insurance company does not want to cover you. They don't want to provide coverage. Or if they are going to cover you, they're going to cover you for a very high premium. So you have to make sure that you do what you're supposed to do. You report it on time. When you get involved, make sure you take a lot of pictures. Make sure you get a written statement if it's the other person's fault. So do everything that you're supposed to do, and then reach out to an attorney as soon as possible if you think you really need it. And I would say you need it, regardless if it's your fault, if it's not your fault. Because even if it's not your fault, you are owed money from the insurance company, from the other driver, or whatever. If it's not your fault, you're still owed money, regardless of the thing. Because you have insurance, the insurance company has to pay you for your injury, for your damages, whether it's your fault or not your fault. But do everything that you're supposed to do.
Right. So it's always better to take attorney's help in any
Yes,
situation.
I would definitely suggest that.
Okay. And
because
can you also,
for a lot of just real quick, for personal injury cases, you don't pay anything out of your pocket.
right.
Okay. We help you, we represent you, depending on which state you are, if you're licensed or not. We don't charge you until we settle with the insurance company and we take a 30%, 35% settlement fee from that. So you're not paying anything out of your pocket. But please, again and again, do not fall for the fact that you have American Express credit card or any of those credit cards, and now you don't have to buy insurance from rental company. I would say pay a couple $100 extra and get that insurance.
Okay. Cool. So I received another question about the same thing. One of our members from our community went to India for their visa extension. They attended visa interview. They got 221G for a previously closed petty case on shoplifting, where it was proven that she was not convicted and the case was closed. And now in the 221G, they were asking to provide court documents, and she do not have any court documents. How does she deal with it?
So, anytime you are charged with a crime or the case is finalized, you are normally able to collect what's called the final disposition. Okay. And what you should collect is called certified copy of a final disposition from the clerk's office. If you are in India or anywhere else and you are not physically present in the state where this happened, you can, if like, let's say for example it's in Virginia, then I could go to the courthouse, get it for you, and send it to you. Or any of the 14 states that Santosh Garu is licensed in, we can do that for you.
Okay.
So in a lot of times, what happens is if your visa is revoked, or if you're given this, if the embassy is asking you to provide documentation, then we can collect those for you, send it to you. We can provide a letter explaining what happened. If your case was dismissed, then it's an easy solution.
Solution. Okay.
Easy solution. We just have to provide those documents and explanation. If you were charged, then it's a little bit difficult, but still there's a way out to explain. Let's say it happened 10 years ago, 5 years ago. We can explain, this person has had this incident 5 years ago, has not had anything since then. It was a minor thing. It was, explain that and what they have done since then. They have gotten good grades. They have done such and such community service. They're doing XYZ for the society. So we can explain all of that.
Understood. And so I see many people are commenting. If at all it is something sensitive, I recommend not commenting down. Instead, drop an email to info@somireddylaw.com, because try to keep your information private.
Yeah, and I'm not able to read any of those comments.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Yeah, don't publicly comment them. Send an email to info@somireddylaw.com. They're going to respond to you. Just in case, every case is different. And if at all it's a simple answer, they're going to answer for free. They do not charge anything. But if at all it needs a personal attention where they have to discuss a lot of things with follow-up questions, they'll recommend you to book a session with them so that they can look at your case. It's info@somireddylaw.com.
Yes.
And
email info@swamireddylaw.com. One of our staff member or the attorney will reach out to you, respond to you in the email to answer your question. If you require more time, then we can have a consultation.
Right. And I received another question, Zibran. Someone sent a message that for domestic battery, he or she is not convicted or not at fault, but charged with domestic battery. What kind of impact will be there on them?
So number one, depending on their status right now, or when they were charged, if they're not found guilty, or if the case is still pending, then their main priority is to try their best to make sure the case gets dismissed. If the case gets dismissed, make sure they get final disposition, certified copy of the final disposition from the court, and then file for expungement. So the records get expunged. They don't have to worry about, at this time, they don't have to worry about their immigration, as long as their visa hasn't been revoked. Because as we said previously, that now, as soon as you're charged with any crime, whether it's a misdemeanor, whether it's a felony, automatically embassy gets a notification. Anytime you are becoming part of anything criminal law related, embassy gets a notification. They don't even look at the facts. They don't even care whether you're charged, whether you've been found guilty, nothing. Automatically, they revoke the visa. So if that is the case, if your visa has been revoked, then certainly an immigration attorney needs to get involved. But still, your main focus should be getting this charge dismissed.
Yes.
Hopefully, it's nothing major, and your partner, your wife, your husband is cooperating. This was an argument that caused, misunderstanding, and the police was involved and all of that. Hopefully, gets dismissed. If it gets dismissed, then you are in much better shape than if you were found guilty. If you're found guilty, obviously it's not the end of the world. You can still have some resolution in terms of your immigration situation. The thing is, why is it that we have to worry more now than before? Before, the community members, U.S. citizens, residents, were very sensitive. They were very helpful to immigrants. They were very helpful. They are, a lot of people still are, but the mindset is changing because, because of what's going on with the new president. A lot of people are now becoming, they were pro immigrants before, now they're becoming against immigrants. Like recently, I went to the court. I had a client on a student visa who was charged with reckless driving, and I was talking to the prosecutor, and I explained to the prosecutor, hey, my client is charged with reckless driving. He has a great record. He has no prior criminal history, no prior traffic offenses, nothing like that. It's just once, like this happened, and the response, really impacted me, what the prosecutor said. And I told the prosecutor, hey, he's here as a student visa. This if he's charged with this, it's going to impact his immigration situation, all of that. His response was, well, if I was in his country, I would make sure that I abide by all the laws. I would not do what he did. And I was like, we're human beings. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. I'm not sitting here pretending that I'm perfect. Okay. And things happen sometimes. Just because he was going 10 miles over the speed limit, 12 miles, 20 miles over the speed limit, he hasn't caused any injuries to anybody. He hasn't harmed anybody. But the mentality of people is changing. So that's why it's very important that we take caution, we abide the law and everything. Because before, they were flexible. They would give you a little bit of leeway, but not anymore.
Understood.
Not anymore.
All right. Yeah. And coming to the current Laken Riley Act, many people have still the follow-up questions. My case got dismissed long back and it's sorted. Even still, will I face any
No,
issues?
no. And in many situations, as long as your case was dismissed, as long as nothing has happened since 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, even a year, all I would suggest is, before you travel, just check your visa, make sure that it wasn't revoked, make sure everything is good with your service account. If you want us to take a look at it just to confirm, and we're happy to do so. But no, as long as your charges you were dismissed, as long as it happened prior to this act, then you should not have to worry. Just do due diligence. Make sure that everything is good before you travel.
Okay. And what do you suggest the students now with the upcoming new changes and all? I would simply say just do your work. But what do you say?
So we've only been in this new administration for 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, and so much has happened in these 3 weeks. President Trump was inaugurated on January 20th. There's so much more to come. He did say in his during his campaign that anyone who graduates from United States universities should automatically get a green card. If that happens, that would be wonderful,
right,
for all of us.
Right.
Hopefully he keeps that promise. But for now, all I would say is make sure that you do what you're supposed to do. If you're a student, focus on your studies. Make sure you don't get in any trouble. Hopefully good things will come. I know President Modi is coming to meet President Trump. So hopefully they're friends. So they're able to reach some good resolution for the community. But there's a lot that's going to happen. A lot of changes. So let's wait and watch. Meanwhile, make sure you continue to stay in status, continue to do well with your studies if you're a student, and don't get in trouble. And we Santosh Garu really cares. He wants to help out anyone who needs it. And if you have a specific question, reach out to us.
Yeah.
We will try to guide you. If we cannot guide you, we'll direct you to different avenues to help. And we'll try our best to help in any ways we can.
Perfect. Thank
All
you,
right.
Zibran. I think
Thank you.
the entire session is informative and helpful. We covered different kinds of topics. Pretty much everything relates to your practice areas. Yeah, this was helpful, and you also sounded like a guide and mentor.
Thank you.
Not like an attorney who is giving an advice.
No,
Thanks for taking this responsibility.
The thing is, this is one thing. I came to the United States as an immigrant myself,
Right.
And I care about our community, and the goal is to give back.
Right.
A lot of people helped me.
Right.
I had a lot of mentors, and if we can help people, then that would be the best thing we can do.
Awesome.
That's the purpose.
Awesome.
All right.
Good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi.
Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you in the next session. Bye.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.